Shadow the new Praetorian. It's so good for y'all to be seeing me again back here. I'm glad to be seen even by those of you that may not like me all that much. I think most people that come by are reasonable though, and we can all, get along. And if not fully agree, we could maybe agree to disagree on San Diego being the vagina of a whale. Hey, to everybody out there, this isn't like a super duper 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 heavy topic, because I've covered some of them, some real doozies. I was just recently called some horrible things on Twitter, but nothing really bothers me, to be honest. I just think there are some lines that aren't meant to be crossed, and it's disingenuous to pretend that an attack on someone and calling them in our society, I don't know how it works up there in Canada, but in our society, calling them one of the top 3 worst things you could possibly be called. Because if you are one of these things, and I'm not going to belabor it, I already covered it. Watched my video before this. I got a little song with the whole Twitter thing up there. And I demand an apology from this person. But if you're somebody that he, said I should defend being, you have to register for life, because that is frowned on around here, mister. And if you were where I could reach you, you wouldn't be talking that trash. So anyway, like I said, without any further ado and without seeming to be out of my mind, which I may be, I'm going to jump right into this. Donald Trump, whether you like him or you don't like him, one thing we would all have to agree on is that he is not going to do the BS thing. What do I mean by that? What do I mean? Does he ever lie? I'm sure at times he lies. Everybody does. Sidney Rough Diamond, he was mentioning that if you didn't lie, it would be impossible. Remember the movie Liar Liar? Here's to you, Mr. Rough Diamond. You're very important to me. It's not that he wouldn't lie. It's that he, how shall I say it? When he says he's going to do something, I've already mentioned it before, he's all id. No ego, no super ego. He's all id. He's the baby that wants the titty, he's going to take it. Wants the rattle, he's going to snatch it. Wants to take a poop, he's going to do it. And because he's all id, it appeals to this, which to most people is really, you would think of it as ego, but it's not. It's the terminology that comes from Freudian psychology, for those of you that aren't into that kind of thing or just aren't a nerd like me. Because some people wouldn't think it, because I got a long beard and I had raised chickens and stuff, but I scored outstanding on every IQ test I ever took. So well when I was very young that I got to take 3 of them. Look, I'm getting off the rails. We're going to look at this right away. Something's afoot in Mexico. Let's listen to this. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to push play.
Mexico's foreign minister has expressed irritation to President Donald Trump's envoys about recent U.S. policies towards their southern neighbor. Luis Vidaurre said he had told visiting U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson that Mexico was worried about respect for immigrants' rights. Mr. Tillerson said in Mexico City that 2 strong sovereign countries, from time to time, will have differences. Relations between the neighbors are at their lowest point for decades. Bad hombre.
And see, in a way, that's why I don't just want to let that play. Because you could see, I don't know why, the BBC is a really good news source. So I don't know, I guess. I mean, I hear something from a Brit that I know that makes me believe that maybe not. And he's very skeptical, shall we say, of the BBC. But whenever she just mixed a couple words. I was a preacher at one time, and we would have people read along when we were reading the scriptures, or whenever I was reading any book. If they had, their hands on it, I'd want to read along, or I'd put a slide up and with a reference to it. That way they knew I wasn't trying to sneak a word in or change a word, because I'm not a SJW, but words matter. You have to say the word that you mean. And what she just said was Mr. Tillerson said in Mexico City that two strong sovereign countries, in quotation marks, would have differences from time to time. And she said would from time to time have differences. So relations between the neighbors are at their lowest points in decades. I'm going to go back to her, and I just want you to notice that. And
Flashpoints before Tillerson visit. Border town divided on Trump's wall. A U.S. plan, unveiled this week, to expel to Mexico all illegal immigrants found crossing the U.S. border regardless of nationality has angered Mexicans most. Mr. Vidagarre said at a joint news conference, "There's a
This is where some people that are kind of dumb, with all due respect, because I was talking to one person, you know who you are, and they think that means that they're going to send a Brazilian to Mexico if they catch that Brazilian in Chicago or in Phoenix or in, I don't know, anywhere. I could go on and on. I know a lot of cities in the United States. But if they caught them there, that they would send them to Mexico. Instead, what this means is if you're walking across the border, you're breaking the law, and an ICE agent catches you, they turn you around and you go back. Or if they catch you right there, they send you right back because you came from Mexico. You may not be a Mexican citizen. That is then your problem to deal with Mexico. Usually we pay to put somebody on a plane and we deport them. I want to let this lady talk because she goes to some good points.
Concern among Mexicans, there's irritation about what has been perceived as policies that might be harmful for the Mexicans and for the Mexican industry. In his own statement afterwards, Mr. Tillerson said, "There's no mistaking that the rule
Diplomacy ends at the water's edge. I, as an American, what do I care about the rights of illegal immigrants? Because they're not American citizens. I hate to break it to you. They're not. There was a while ago where there was a seed seller that I won't name that sold marijuana seeds. And there were 3 people that got involved in this. And I remember looking at this Canadian gentleman, and he was like, they were doing something very illegal. No one has ever been jailed in Canada for selling marijuana seeds or cannabis seeds. And this man looked right at the camera and he said, "I have rights. I'm supposed to be tried by a jury of my peers. I'm going to be tried by a jury of foreigners." And those foreigners he was speaking of were Americans. You have rights in the country you are in. Don't give me this world nonsense. I gotta let this lady play her. This will go on long because this is so important. Don't fall into the new world insanity. The one world, and we're gonna have a government that is going to be benevolent and look over us and is gonna take care of all of our needs under the shadow of the new Praetorian. You will bow to your masters in that scenario, my friends. I beg of thee. Wilt thou be fooled? Be thou not fooled.
Rule of law matters along both sides of our border. Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly, who joined Mr. Tillerson for the closed-door meetings in Mexico City, emphasized there would be no mass deportations or use of military force in U.S. immigration operations. Everything we do in the Department of Homeland Security will be done legally and according to human rights and the legal justice system of the United
States. And I must say, it'll be done legally according to human rights, but let's face it, that doesn't mean that we're going to let them stay. There's no such thing as sanctuary cities.
States, he said, speaking to a group of U.S. chief executives at the White House earlier on Thursday. President Donald Trump acknowledged the Mexico visit will be a tough trip. "We're getting really bad dudes out of this country at a rate that nobody's ever seen before," Mr. Trump said. The Trump administration issued a new policy on Tuesday targeting millions of illegal immigrants for possible deportation, mirroring a previous executive order signed by the president. The new policy, which seeks to step up enforcement of existing U.S. immigration laws, widens the net on deportation and speeds up their removal. It also calls
What's wrong with that? Do you want them to take forever?
For sending back to Mexico immigrants caught crossing the border illegally, irrespective of where they are from, and deporting anyone checked to Mexico.
I want you to hear this, folks.
So calls for sending back to Mexico immigrants caught crossing the border illegally, irrespective of immigrants caught crossing the border illegally. crossing the border illegally. Co-immigrants caught crossing the border illegally, irrespective.
Did everybody hear that, class? Who's going to be sent back to Mexico instantly, even if they're Brazilian? For you fools out there. I say it again, if there's any fool out there that would be stupid enough to debate me on a serious topic that has thousands, I believe tens of thousands of followers and viewers, bring it on. I was born for this. I've been doing it for 15 years. And it's an open challenge. And you know who you are. And that goes for anyone else. Did you hear what the lady said? Crossing the border illegally. Listen. Don't read the headline and then assume. Assumption makes an ass out of you. But not me. Because I'm going to go all the way through it. I'm going to continue. Here's what I'm going to do.
Of where they are from, and deporting anyone charged with, or convicted of, any crime. Mr. Tierson and Mr. Kelly will probably also face questions about the new guidelines in their meeting with Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto. President Trump has insisted that Mexico will pay billions for a wall along the U.S. border, which prompted Mr. Nieto to cancel a planned Washington visit late last month. Both U.S. and Mexican officials made no mention of Mr. Trump's proposed wall at the news conference on Thursday. Mr. Trump has also ordered a report, due on Friday, listing all foreign aid the U.S. provides to Mexico.
Okay, now that I made a little joke there, let me back this up, because this is all, relatively important. Link will be in the description, but this has got to be kind of entertaining, right? I mean, you don't just want to hear this robotic voice reading this. It's got to be a little entertaining. But this is poignant, folks. This is important. He's ordered President Trump, whether you like it or not, and for you Canadians, you jerk off that called me a child molester, you're a Canadian. It's none of your damn business. So there's number one. If you come here illegally, you get deported. If you're crossing that border illegally, they turn you around and send you back to Canada. So listen carefully to what this robot is about to say, because it's more than just a little important.
Foreign aid the U.S. provides to Mexico.
Oops,
due on Friday, listing all foreign aid the U.S. Thursday. Mr. Trump has also ordered a report, due on Friday, listing all foreign aid the U.S. provides to Mexico. Trump has also ordered a report, due on Friday, listing all foreign aid the U.S. provides to Mexico. On Friday, listing all foreign aid the U.S. provides to foreign aid the U.S. provides to Mexico. Foreign aid the U.S. provides to Mexico. It is unclear why he requested the review, but its inclusion in Mr. Trump's executive order on constructing a wall along the southern border suggests he may use it for leverage in negotiations with Mexico. Mexican officials are also concerned about.
He said he would. Come on, based mama. If you've hung in here this long, you've been preaching the Trump gospel, if that's what I gotta say. Hey, look, I love you, Cult of Dusty. You know why I love you, Cult of Dusty? Because, and I'm not a skeptic or whatever you want to call it, I'm not a member of that community, but I love you, Cult of Dusty, because you call yourself a cult of Dusty, and you understand, brother. Talk to the Iron Skeptic, if you will. Talk some sense to that dude. Teach him how to debate. Look, I digress really badly, but did you hear what was just said? He ordered a report of foreign aid given to Mexico from America. Listen, I got to put this guy back up here, because I want you to see his face. See that? That's Tillerson. That's Rex Tillerson, by the way, computer voice. It's Rex Tillerson. See that guy? That is a blithering idiot that wants to tell the people that are funding his life, the people that are giving look, they're terrified because the foreign aid that we give them is huge. To quote President Trump, it's huge. This is exactly what he said he was going to do. This is going to be a little longer, but oh well. Some of y'all are going to hang in here, some of y'all ain't. This is important stuff, folks. It is time that we opened our eyes. You can get on YouTube yourself and look at the vast treasure trove of information that is there. And in that vast treasure trove of information, you're going to find a bunch of President Trump rallies. I listened to them while I worked on the farm every day. And for all you fanboys of whoever that I may have been in an argument with, no, I don't spell very well, but I'm an auditory learner. If I hear something or if I read it, and I read very well, that's why I had all the IQ tests. They couldn't figure out how I could read at a second-year college level when I was in the 8th grade, and I was reading Stephen King novels and Moby Dick and The Count of Monte Cristo. I was starting to read Dante, and they just didn't understand. When I picked up Nietzsche, my Christian mother kind of took a shit. Listen, he's doing what he said. He will make Mexico pay for the wall. Does that mean Mexico's going to write a check? No, he was very clear in his policy. He said, we have leverage here, folks. If they don't do what's right, we will cut and they're talking about how billions of dollars. I can't wait for this report to come out, because even though he won't tell you fools at CNN when he plans to bomb or what he plans to do, when you were asking him at the press conference, again, if you listen to his rallies, if you listen to what his promises were, you would know that he ain't going to tell you when he's not going to tell you. He's Mad Dog Mattis. I got a suggestion for you, cuck. Listen, let me calm down. I got a suggestion for you. Go talk to Mad Dog Mattis. And my followers know, my viewers, they understand, my constant viewers, that I don't even like that moniker. I much prefer the warrior monk. Never had a wife. Ain't had time for it. He's married to the core. He's wedded to his M14. He is a minister of death praying for war. Was that bad? I'm a big bad guy. I'm a big bad guy. Well, you know what? Canada and Mexico and Guam, and Guam is actually ours, sorry. You know what, world? We protect most of y'all. I'm not happy about that, because I believe it's the triangle with Rome as the faith capital, and with the city of London, not London, the city of London, for you uneducated folks, not my viewers, but for you, armored skeptic, you probably have no clue about any of this, and you'd say it's conspiracy theory because you're a moron. The city of London, the financial center of the world. Everything is measured by the British pound sterling. Don't let them lie to you about the US dollar, the petrodollar. It's nonsense. So you have Rome, the religious might of the world. It is its own country. Check it out. You have the city of London in merry old England, the financial capital of the world. The mayor of London. Look into the mayor of London and how much it costs just to be mayor. What he spends on his hats every year. Because you don't get paid to do that. You have to pay to be the mayor of London. Yeah, I know, Brett. I know some stuff. You'd be shocked. A lot of folks would be. And then you have the military might of the United States of America. I really want to turn this camera around right now. I want you to see this, because I don't have any notes. There are no notes. You see, oh, that's kind of cool. Look at that. Dig that. I knew it would happen. It's like infinity. We're looking into infinity. The infinite possibilities. Look at that. I'll spin when I do that. Ooh. The infinite possibilities. Travel with me down the wormhole of reality. But I don't, there's nothing there. I don't have any notes. Nowhere. I have some notes of, like, people that I like. And yes, Rachel Richardson, I hope you're watching this, because you see your name is right there. Drunken said Pete Yates. I love the guy. And you know, one of the things that I can't brag about is I don't have a wonderful gift for names. Names and numbers seem to flutter out of my head, but other things don't. And what's not fluttering out of my head right now is the point here. We give aid to Mexico. Mexico depends on the teat of America. The world depends on the might of America. The world depends on the money of the city of London and the fractional reserve system that has crushed and destroyed. Imagine a face, Winston. Now imagine a boot stamping on that face for infinity. All right, one more time. You have the city of London, the financial capital of the world. You have Rome, the great beast with iron teeth and 7 heads and 10 horns, and a whore riding its back. The religious capital of the world. And you have Washington, D.C., with the terrible, fearful, horrifying might of the United States of America and all of the hate and power that it projects militarily. President Trump, that's one thing I want to beg you. Don't drone strike anymore. I would ask you to defer to Mattis's wisdom. Tell him, General Mattis, I beg you. You told him on torture. You set him straight. Tell him, drone strikes. We can't do that. So I fear this monster that we're building because the city of London will finance it. The Pope will preach it. Look what he said about Trump and all this stuff. And listen, 20 years ago, they're saying that, yeah, gays should be stoned, and now it's okay to be gay. I don't think it's bad. I love you, Scott Pressler. Love you very much, brother. I'd kiss you. I love you, Milo. I would pull a Gavin McGinnis, because I got a better beard than he does. But I'd pull a Gavin McGinnis, and I'd kiss you right on the mouth in front of everybody. Because I have no problem with what orientation a person may be. Unless that orientation is anti-freedom. Unless that orientation is slanderous and makes light of molested children. And I'll be damned. You can make fun of rape of adults all you want. Make jokes. Patrice, man, he used to do the donkey punt. Patrice used to have some rape jokes, okay? And I've heard some rape jokes that were funny. But you know what I've never heard from any comedian? Not the legendary Bill Hicks to all the way to, what's the guy that was in Breaking Bad? Bill Burr. I had to have 2 Bills. Bill Hicks to Bill Burr. I've never heard a funny child rape joke. One was aimed at me, and then a barrage of 9 and 10 fanboys telling me I was, a bald, stupid son of a bitch and all this stuff. And I'm battling them, man. I don't type. I look at my hands when I'm typing, and I don't spell very well, but I know what to say. So I'm bang, and I'm beating their ass soundly. And then here comes their God at the head of their cult, to tell me that I'm a child molester. Listen here. If you're caught at the border of Mexico and America, and you're coming here, you're going back. Trump is looking right now. He's looking. He's going to find out what exactly it is we're giving you. And he probably ain't going to give it no more. And there will be a wall built. It will not go all the way from San Diego to Burlington, Texas. It will not go that whole distance. Because he said in a bed, I'm not going to ad nauseum it up. He already said there will be natural walls in places. There will be walls that are existing. Some places will need fences. Some places will need sensors. Don't use drones, President Trump. Damn it. We don't need to be surveilled. Some guy, check out the news. Some guy just shot up a drone that was flying over his property, and they arrested him for it. Here in America, it was a sheriff's drone. Now look, you fly a sheriff's drone over this house, it's getting shot down. Because I own the air above this house. I'd have to check on the ordinance, but I believe it's 350 feet up. And if you've got that drone flying over 300 feet, you are breaking FCC laws. How do I know? Well, I ain't going to go and get it right now, but I know because I fly drones. I've been flying airplanes and drones for years. I've been flying them before they had flew helicopters, before they had gyros, when they would crash if you cut a fart while you're trying to control that thing. Why? Because I have 133 IQ, and I like things that take an incredible amount of focus. Because if I don't have that focus, I kind of go batshit crazy. So for you that, I'm talking about, I already mentioned a couple times, or anyone else that thinks I'm bragging, oh my gracious, I have a curse. I've said it before, I can't spell cat. And then these morons, when they can't come up with a good argument, they come at me with you spelled that wrong thing. Well, listen, Mrs. Richardson, Rachel Richardson, and your hubby, he's so lucky you got some. Listen, I might, if she says it's okay, because she's really deep low. If she wanted to be, she'd be pretty popular, but she's on the down low, and I don't even want to shout out where you can find her until she says it's okay. But if you hung in here this long, sweet thing, I sure do appreciate it. Your husband's awful lucky You have a wonderful wit. They can't even. This channel's got to be PG-13, so I can't even say something. She does a thing with scissors. I'll say that. It's okay. All right. Listen, folks. Remember, be good to your friends. Be good to your family members. Be good to your loved ones. Be quick to say you're sorry. Be even quicker to accept an apology, especially when that thing your friend, your family member, your loved one has done seems to be so big that you'll never be able to forget about it. Because you, my constant viewers, at a time you think not, your friends, your family members, your loved ones, your life, and you, Iron Skeptic, your bullshit cause will depart from you. Hey, man, I'm sorry about that last dig. I think a molester, that's going pretty deep, and I try to forgive too. But if he'd say he's sorry, I would give him, I would say no problem. But I haven't heard that yet. So while you're here, subscribe, hit that button, leave a comment, tell me I'm ugly, tell me I'm stupid. It doesn't bother me. Just stay away from that one thing, if you will, please. And if you do that on this channel, that will be the only thing that will get you taken. I'll take you off. You make fun of molestation. You make fun of Pizzagate and children being raped and trafficked. I will not only end you from this here, but I swear as God is my judge, if I had the power, because you don't know if I've been molested, do you? But I swear as God is my judge, if I had the power, be good to your friends, folks. Oh man, I can't believe I just said that today.